It was a crisp autumn morning in New York City, and the cafe on the corner of 80th Avenue and Main Street was bustling with its usual crowd of locals and tourists. The small establishment, known for its excellent coffee and cozy atmosphere, was a favorite spot for people to catch up, work on their laptops, or simply enjoy a quiet moment. For Sarah, a waitress who'd been working there for the past year, it was just another busy day. She had grown used to the rhythm of the cafe, the early morning rush, the lull before lunch, and the steady hum of activity in between. She loved her job, mostly because it gave her the chance to meet all kinds of people. Sarah was in her mid-20s, with a warm smile and an easygoing demeanor that made customers feel at home. She had dreams of one day becoming an actress, but for now, she spent her days serving coffee and her nights attending auditions. Her life was a whirlwind of trays and scripts, but she wouldn't have it any other way. That particular morning, the cafe was as lively as ever. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sound of clinking cups and the murmur of conversations. Sarah was moving swiftly between tables, balancing orders and chatting with customers. As she approached one of the corner tables, she noticed a man sitting alone, sipping on a black coffee and jotting something in a leather-bound notebook. He looked familiar, but Sarah couldn't quite place him. Dressed in a simple gray sweater and jeans, he blended in with the crowd. There was nothing flashy about him, no designer clothes or entourage that screamed celebrity. To Sarah, he looked like just another customer. "Good morning," she greeted with a cheerful smile. "Can I get you anything else?" The man looked up, his piercing blue eyes meeting hers. He had a kind face, framed by slightly graying hair and a trimmed beard. "No, thank you," he replied in a deep, soothing voice. "The coffee is perfect." "All right," Sarah said, jotting down a note to check back later. "Let me know if you need anything." As the morning wore on, Sarah noticed the man occasionally glancing around the cafe, observing people with quiet interest. She wondered if he was a writer, or perhaps an artist. His notebook seemed filled with scribbles and sketches, though she didn't want to intrude by looking too closely. At one point, another customer at a nearby table leaned over and whispered something to him. The man nodded politely and smiled, but the interaction was brief. Sarah noticed the other customer pull out their phone and discreetly snap a photo before walking away. It wasn't until lunchtime that Sarah's curiosity got the better of her. She approached the man's table again, this time with a refill of his coffee. "You've been here all morning," she said with a friendly chuckle. "Are you working on something interesting?" The man smiled, closing his notebook. "Something like that. I'm a storyteller, you could say." "Oh, a writer?" Sarah guessed. "In a way," he replied cryptically, his smile widening. "That's so cool," Sarah said, genuinely intrigued. "I've always admired people who can create stories. I'm trying to be an actress, so I guess I'm on the other end of storytelling." "An actress?" The man's interest seemed piqued. "That's a tough but rewarding path. Have you been in anything I might know?" Sarah laughed nervously. "Nothing big yet. Just a few commercials and some small roles in indie projects. But I'm hoping to make it someday." "Keep at it," he said encouragingly. "Passion and perseverance go a long way." The conversation ended as another customer waved Sarah over. She excused herself and went back to work, feeling a little lighter after their exchange. There was something reassuring about his words, as though he truly understood what it meant to chase a dream. Later that afternoon, as the lunch rush began to die down, one of Sarah's co-workers hurried over, excitement written all over her face. "Sarah, do you know who that guy is?" she whispered, glancing toward the corner table. "Which guy?" Sarah asked, confused. "The one you've been talking to." "That's James Carter." Sarah's brow furrowed. "Who?" Her co-worker gaped at her. "James Carter. The director. He's won like 3 Oscars. He made Shadows in the Light and The Last Horizon. How do you not know this?" Sarah's jaw dropped, as recognition finally clicked. James Carter was one of the most renowned filmmakers of their time, celebrated for his ability to craft deeply emotional and visually stunning films. She had watched his movies in awe, never imagining she'd one day be serving him coffee. "No way," she whispered, stealing a glance at the man who had been so unassuming. He's so normal. That's the thing about big shots like him," her coworker said. "They don't need to show off. But I can't believe you didn't recognize him." Sarah felt a mix of embarrassment and amusement. She had treated James Carter like any other customer, unaware of his fame. But a part of her was glad she hadn't known. It allowed her to interact with him naturally, without the nerves or fanfare that usually accompanied celebrity encounters. When James eventually got up to leave, Sarah mustered the courage to approach him one last time. "Mr. Carter," she said hesitantly, "I just realized who you are. I'm so sorry if I came off as clueless earlier." He chuckled, his blue eyes twinkling with amusement. "Don't apologize. I appreciated the normalcy. It's rare to have a genuine conversation these days." "Well, in that case," Sarah said, smiling, "thank you for being so kind. Your films have inspired me a lot." "Thank you for saying that," he replied warmly. He paused, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small card. "If you're serious about acting, send your portfolio to this address. I'm always looking for fresh talent." Sarah stared at the card, her heart racing. "Are you serious?" "Completely," he said. "You never know where a small moment might lead." With that, he gave her a nod and walked out of the cafe, leaving Sarah standing there, stunned. The card in her hand felt like a golden ticket, a tiny sliver of hope that her dreams might not be as far-fetched as they seemed. As she watched him disappear down the street, she couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. What had started as an ordinary day had turned into something extraordinary. And for Sarah, it was a reminder that sometimes life's biggest opportunities come when you least expect them.